Welcome to the Tuned In Podcast, a podcast all about music and interviewing artists to find out what connects them to the music they create. Hosted by myself, Nick Brohall. I have a passion for music and want to get artist stories out there to connect people to the thing I love most, music. Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Tuned In. Today, I've got a very special guest. You may have seen him open up for Tech-N9ne, may have seen him do a lot of other cool things with his music, and he's got more music coming out soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Zero.
What's up, dude?
So thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. So to kind of start it off, I know we've talked about in the past a little bit about your story of getting into music and climbing to what you are now. I recently listened to a freestyle that you put out about your sister.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really deep and really good. I didn't even know that you were in foster care growing up. I kind of wanted to just dive right into that and dive right into your past and how you feel that helps you today.
Perfect, man. So I was born and raised in San Bernardino, California. With my mother, my grandmother, and my auntie and my cousins. My uncle was in and out of the picture. Never met my father. Supposedly, my mom had told me later on in life that I crossed paths with him once on a field when I was 5 years old, going to my bus stop.
Oh wow!
And we just walked past each other. He didn't acknowledge me. I didn't know who the hell he was. That was my only interaction with my father. So we were obviously raised with just my mother, and my sister was born 1993. And, big brother role kind of came in the picture. So obviously sibling rivalry, we always fought each other. We always loved super hard. And we had moved from our neighborhood, Crescent, in southern San Bernardino, just a horrible freaking area. I was getting into a lot of trouble, stealing, smoking, drinking. And I was like 9 years old. And my mom finally got us out of there, moved us to northern San Bernardino, which is a white community. I helped get my act together. Like, it wasn't like my mom moved us there for punishment. She just wanted to get out of that neck of the woods, and everything just came into place. I met the best of friends, started skateboarding, started really diving into music and listening to different types of music, rock, country, techno, all that stuff, like during my teen years. And unfortunately, my mom struggled with depression throughout the entire, throughout my entire years of youth, and my sister's entire years of youth. And we're so young that we didn't know when she needed help. We didn't know a lot about depression because it wasn't explained. It wasn't a big issue back then. Back then, if you had it, you were just crazy. You know what I mean? And so my mom was considered crazy, but it was just, she was sad. She had a lot of shit that she dealt with that people didn't know about, that she didn't talk about. And she was being strong for me and my sister. And it got to the point where she just couldn't lift the load by herself anymore. And I think it was 2001, because it was right after the World Trade Center, the 9/11. Because I remember I went to Pacific, and I was at school, and they turned the TV on, and we didn't do any work. And I think it was 2 days after that I got home from school, and my mom wasn't there. And so I was like freaking out. My neighbor was like, yeah, the ambulance came and picked her up. I think she tried to commit suicide. And I didn't get the full story to it, but my panic mode kicked in. So I ran to my sister's school to go pick her up before anybody can go pick her up. And as I got there, the cops had got there. So I picked her up, and my sister's like, she's like 5 or 6 at the time, I think. And I literally just threw her over my shoulders and I started running. I was like, there's no way they're going to get it. And of course they got us, you know what I mean? But that was the first time we got taken to foster care, and like luckily, thank God, we got put into the same house, because with a lot of siblings, they get separated. And I don't think the system now might be a little bit more shaped up, but it's still a little out of whack. They don't understand, like, if you take a family, you need to find a home where the siblings can be together. Because if they're separated, you build that anger, you build not the hatred, but like the loneliness in the kids. Like you're teaching them like, okay, we're just going to take you away from familiarity and throw you into an unknown environment. We're going to test your capability of being human in this situation that you're not used to. And we got lucky. We her name was Hazel, was the mother, and they were a little bit of churchgoers. They didn't like slam it on us, but they took us to church and stuff, and it was good. We needed it. But I was angry. I was so mad at my mom. I resented my mom for the longest time for that because I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And we had stayed in there for a year. My mom got her act together. We got back to my mom's house 2002, and I believe I was in 10th grade at this point. And my mom, she was doing good. Everything was doing good. And to this day, like the system won't admit, the people that were in charge won't admit that they screwed my mom over. Like she was on medication. The medication she was on while we were there, after we got out of foster home, she was doing so good. She was excelling. They had switched up her medication. No heads up, no let's break you into this. They just completely switched it up on her. So they did that. The next few days, I can't remember how many, like if it was a week or not, but I got home from school and my mom's in nothing but a trash bag. And she's wearing a trash bag. She was like, there's bugs crawling all over me. And mind you, I'm 13, 14 or 15 at this time. I don't know what the fuck to do. Like I want to help my mom, but I'm scared. I don't know what to do in this situation. And so I stayed with her till she calmed down. And it only continued to get worse. And so eventually, again, came home from school. She wasn't there. And this was around my birthday. And I remember that because like I didn't have a party for my birthday. I didn't have cake or anything. And my two friends, Kelsey and Sherlyn, they knew about my life. They knew what was going on. All my friends did. You know what I'm saying? We were all family. And they had pitched in and bought me a Nerf ball. And it wasn't the biggest thing. It wasn't the most expensive thing. I treasured that fucking thing because they went and got it for me when they didn't have to. You know what I mean? And then shortly after that, we went to foster care again, and luckily again we got placed into the same house. And this house that we went placed into, this family was Hispanic, and so at first it was a hard adjustment because I don't speak Spanish. My sister doesn't speak Spanish. So we didn't really comprehend a lot of the traditions that they had. But slowly as we stayed there, like it got to the point where they were family. Like I was calling Lupe mom. You know what I mean? And it was like getting to the point where I was almost comfortable staying there. You know what I mean? And I forget what happened, but somebody they had brought more kids over there, and the kids had like gotten into the sink or beneath the sink and was messing with the drainal or something like that. They didn't drink it, but they were playing with it, and somehow that got brought up to the social worker. So the family got investigated. They wound up taking us out of the house and like pretty much just tarnished the family. Like this was a good freaking family that actually wanted to take care of the kids, and they wrecked it. You know what I mean? Versus you got families that don't give a fuck about the kids. It's just about a check. You know what I mean? And the kids are still there. It's suffering. But for a good family, they wound up stripping us. So for me, in my eyes, at this point already, I'm not grounded. I continually get shipped all over the place. Now that I found a family that loves me, nobody gives a fuck. They want to break that up. You know what I mean? So this anger, everything builds. And I get the sense of abandonment. Like nobody wants me. Nobody wants me and my sister. And then they split me and my sister up. They sent me to a foster home in I think it was Rancho Cucamonga, and then they sent my sister to a foster home in Rialto. She was doing really good at the time, and the family was really good. And I was 18, so I was able to emancipate myself. And I did this apartment program for a while, and got out of that. My sister wound up getting adopted by them. Like it was really cool. She was super happy. I was super for it. I had a decision. I could have stayed in the apartment program and continued to build my future, or I can go back with my mom. my mom wasn't doing too good at the time, so I wanted to go back and help my mom. You know what I mean? Like I do it all over again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of how dense the future would be. But I went back. My mom was just declining, and it got to the point where it was like she could stay out. I can graduate, get my diploma, and then we can figure things out, which was going to be a couple months. Or she can go to boarding care, get taken care of. I need to like move out, find a place to stay, find a job, da da da. I'm all for helping my mom because at this point, as I'm older, I understand a lot more and I get a lot more. And I didn't want to see her suffer. So like that was kind of the the big decision that shaped the course of my life. That almost eventually almost killed me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I would do it all over again to help my mom. And that was unfortunately our experience with foster care. And I mean, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. There has been worse stories, there have been better stories, but the fucking whole foster care system needs to be reformed because it's almost to the point where it's not about the kids anymore. It's about a fucking check and then making sure this is sanitary for the kid to be there. Like, no, let's take care of the fucking kids, make sure the kids are good. If they need counseling, get them therapy, like help them understand this situation so they're not carrying all this weight and then all of a sudden they just can't handle that shit anymore because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a crazy story that I didn't know about, which is good to hear from you. And so I'm assuming then um, you and your family are pretty close then due to all the things you guys were able to go through together.
Yeah, I turned 34 this year, and I call my mom every single night to say good night. I love you. Hope you had a good day. No matter what, because she's in Cali still, and I'm out here in Idaho. But no matter what, I'm talking to her every day, and I do my best to talk to my sister. My sister just recently had twins, so she's like occupied herself. You know what I mean? But we still chat. We still connect every once in a while.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And I mean, it must have been tough too, considering that like you said, you were in a situation where you had basically almost 3 to 4 families in a way, because like you connected with a lot of them. Like in the foster care situation, you had, you said the Hispanic family was super close and you liked being there.
Yeah.
Christian family wasn't that bad. It's something crazy as well. Like, have you ever been able to like reconnect with them at all or anything like that?
It was weird. I did once with Lupe and her family. I'd had their number after I'd gotten out of the emancipation and figured everything out. I had seen them once, and they had moved from where they were at, but that was the last of it. And I remember I was trying to search them up a while ago, and I couldn't find anything. But I want to, you know what I mean. I want to be able to show them the man I grew into, and thank them for that because they didn't have to take me, you know what I mean. And one of the most like powerful experiences I had during that. It was when the first foster home we went to. I was so freaking mad, and I was just like, dude, fuck school. Like, I'm gonna just get all F's, man. I don't care. Like, I don't need to do any of this. I'm mad. And the social worker threatened me and was like, if you don't get your grades up, you're never gonna go home. And like, mind you, I'm a kid. Like, you don't tell that to a fucking kid. Like, how vindictive do you have to be to do that, you know? And so he said that to me, and it broke me. It broke me down because I'm like, damn, like they have the power to make sure I never see my mom or my friends again. That's fucked up. And there's like a social worker over you, and then there's like a counselor, social worker guy that comes once every 2 weeks or something like that to check on you. And I I was like, when I was younger, I was a very emotional kid. I cry easy, I get angry easy. And I remember I was sitting in the bed. I was just looking out the window. Tears just running out of my eyes. I'm fucking mad, dude. And this guy comes and sits down next to me. And he's just like, you good? I was like, no, I'm not fucking good, dude. Like, they just threatened me and said I can never go home. You know, and like, mind you, I'm a kid. I'm cursing. He's sitting down listening. And he's just letting me rant all this out. And I think 30 minutes go by. And I realize, like, he hasn't said a thing. Like, he's actually, like, just listening to me talk. And by the end of it, I felt better, and he like had words of wisdom, which I can't remember now, but I remember the situation just because like he took time out of his day to sit there and help me. Versus like he could have been like, well, you need to do this or this is going to happen. No, he was there for me. Mm-hmm. And so like when I worked at Boise Parks and Rec out here, that was my goal, is like for teens and kids like that, just dealing with things that most don't understand. I was there. I wanted to be there to help them. I wanted to be there to guide them. And like the city of Boise gave me the platform to do so. So like ever since that moment that God gave me the ear that I needed, I try to do the same for the teens. I try to be an inspiration. I try to motivate, help wherever I can. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I think a huge part of that too shows in your music as well. Not just like, I know you said you're using the Parks and Rec platform, but then now also using your musical platform to get out that kind of like showing what you've been through. Yeah, and then like, I guess with all music really, it's a lot of people like what they like because it's relatable to them. Yeah. They can feel what you're saying, and you've had a past that you can prove that like you felt this, you know what it's like to go through this, and these people aren't alone. And just with talking to you, like the little bit that I have, like I already know that like if people want to talk to you about stuff, you're the type of person that they could open up to. And I think that's really inspiring to come back from all that. It's one of those like rising up stories, really, I would say, because I know even after that, it didn't get much easier for you. And kind of going onto that, talking a little bit about, I think you said you're on day
303 today.
303 today of your sobriety. So kind of take us through that struggle, and then now being where you are, where you're about 60 days away from a whole year.
Yeah. So I started drinking when I was young, when I was like 8 or 9 with my cousins, and I don't blame my cousins or anything. It was the environment we're in. They were my role models. They were the only ones I could look up to because they were the only ones that were there. Mm-hmm. And so I picked up drinking and smoking young. And through the foster care, I kind of dissipated it. Like I didn't pay attention to drinking and smoking because I was so focused on wanting to get back to my mom, taking care of my sister, wanting to get back to my friends. So everything kind of dissipated. And sobriety like somehow found its way in, but I never knew it as sobriety. I just knew it as me somewhat trying to take control of this situation. And then once I got emancipated and I did the apartment program, some of the people I was with in that apartment program, they drank, they smoked. So I started drinking again. And then when I got back to the apartments where we lived at, when I moved back with my mom, all my youth, all my friends that we didn't drink or smoke, all drinking, all smoking and shit. And it was like either the idea of conformity or the idea of like, well, it's not gonna kill me, like I'm hanging out with my friends and shit. I've learned over time I have the most addictive personality, and not just like alcohol or drugs, but it was like I never picked up a skateboard in my life. When I met my friends and they were all skateboarding, shit, I want to do that. They're all doing that, you know what I mean? And it was just easy, you know. So everything kind of came into place that way. But I think when I went back to the apartment program and my mom had to be emancipated, that was a hit on me emotionally, internally, but I didn't express it externally. And so people didn't really know. I just drank a lot, you know what I mean? And then I moved to Vegas with my big brother Chris, and then I moved back to Cali 2005, and moved up to Big Bear. And this is where I met my friend Anthony through my one of my best friends, Ashley. And I lived up there. And as soon as I moved up to Big Bear, everybody was drinking. It was so easily accessible. And I was 19 going into bars, fucking getting drunk every single night. And that it became routine. It became second nature. If I didn't have a beer or like vodka in my hand, something wasn't right. You know what I mean? And one of my first relationships up there in Big Bear ended because of drinking, and it was kind of an equal end, but my drinking was so bad that I think one of the final triggers was I was at a friend's house. She was going to come over. We're going to talk about things, and she was like, "The only thing I want you to do is not drink." do not drink tonight. It's like, cool, I can do that. I have a friend over here in my ear, like, dude, you're a grown ass man. You can drink. Have a drink. Da da da. And in that moment, I've never felt like the pressure of peer pressure. Like it was holding on to me. It was like, fuck, I need to drink. Sure enough, I grab a drink. She comes in. Sorry, and ended that first relationship. So drinking just stayed with me. Later on down the road, 2009, I had my first 2008, excuse me, I had my first daughter, Aaliyah, and things started to somewhat balance out. Drinking was still bad, but it started to somewhat balance out, and I was trying to figure life out. 2009, me and the mother decided to try to get together and make things work, and or I think later 2008, excuse me, and then 2009 moved to Idaho. Drinking continued, moved back to California. Drinking continued, and then the I think in California around 2009 or late 2009, early 2010, unemployment was at an all time high. There was no places hiring, so we decided to move back to Idaho. Um, we were married at the time. When we decided to move back to Idaho, I think my drinking was so bad at the point that I was drinking like half gallons in like 2 days. You know what I mean? Just to myself. And it was weird because I was so easily functionable. I could do everything. I could wake up 6 in the morning, drunk as fuck, go to work, and we're good. You know what I mean? And we moved back out here 2010, and she wants a separation. And mind you, like I had nothing out here at the time. Like I leaped out here, and I left everything in California. And to backtrack, we decided to, because Aaliyah was having some problems at the time. They thought she was autistic. She wasn't, but she was taking classes or doing like therapy out there in California, and her mom was out there. So we decided to leave her with her mom. And so after that happened, I lost my ground, and I'm in I'm in Idaho trying to figure things out. I move in with a coworker, and things are just so rocky between me and my ex-wife. And Aaliyah comes back out here because the mom, like, she couldn't do it anymore. So I'm like, cool, I get the chance to actually be a real father. And I have my youngest daughter at the time was Michaela, and so Aaliyah and Michaela were together with me, and I was ecstatic. I loved it. I loved every idea of it. You know what I mean? And unbeknownst to me, the idea was for my ex-wife's mom, because we signed our rights to my ex-wife's mom to be able to take her to the therapy classes and all that. So when she came out here, technically I still had no rights to her, and then her mom signed away her rights to somebody else that they wanted to adopt her. And so when I come wind of this, I'm like, fuck, what do I got? Like, how can I do this? Like, how can I make sure this doesn't happen? Mind you, I'm not grounded. I'm still trying to figure life out. I'm still drinking every day. Things are so fucking hard that it gets to the idea in my head, like, maybe it is better for her. If she stays out here, she's only going to continue to sink with me. But the father in me is like, no, that's my job. I fight. I figure it out. I have to figure out how I can make this work. And it was the day that we were supposed to relinquish our rights that everything started to surface. It started to really hit me. And I think we had to go to the bank to relinquish every single thing. And I go, I do it, I take off, and I'm just distraught. I'm destroyed. And I wake up the next morning. There's a fifth in the freezer. I polish a fifth at like 8 in the morning. Liquor store opens. I go buy another one. I polish that one. I run to the bar down on Shinden in Garden City, which was the I can't remember what the bar name was, but I chilled there from like 2 p.m. to 3 a.m. drinking the whole fucking day. Like I can't even remember most of the time I spent in there. But my friend Chase, he had came and he was like, "Look, dude, I'm gonna take you to my house. I'll drive your car and we'll be good." And he drives me to his house, and I somewhat remember a little bit that I just wanted to get home. I didn't want to be around anybody. You know what I mean? And so he tried to stop me, and I went and I drove home. literally down the street from my house. And mind you, this is after drinking all fucking day. I go through a stop sign and my eyes, like, I just held them closed a little bit too long. Next thing I know, I'm up on the curb. I had hit a tree, ran through a gate, hit a parked car, and then went back into the street and totaled my car. Thank God I did not hit anybody. I did not run through a house, but damage had been done. You know what I mean? And I wanted to destroy myself. You know what I mean? I didn't find. I failed, is what it was. And so from that day, July 12th, 2011, I believe, 2012, I think it is, 11 or 12, I can't even remember at this point. But drinking was just, it was second nature. That was my coping mechanism because I had failed. I felt like I needed to destroy myself. That's what I deserved because I let that happen. You know what I mean? And it got worse, and my relationships got worse. My codependency and alcohol dependency were at all-time highs. My infidelities were at all-time highs because if I didn't find love here, if somebody wasn't giving me love here, I needed to find love somewhere else. I needed somebody to let me know that they love me, you know? And I messed a lot of relationships up, a lot of people up over that. And you know, I can never apologize enough. I can only do better to show my apology, you know. And I think it was my second to last relationship. I had my youngest daughter Kyrie, and she, when we had got together, she'd picked up a broken man. She wanted to piece together a broken man, and throughout my entire life, I had no idea what real love was. You know what I mean? Like I knew the idea of love. I knew, like, I love you, but I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know the embracing of it. And she had tried her best. You know, we went on for 4 years, and my infidelities were there. There was just the bad outweighed the good. There were good, but there was a lot of bad. And she tried her best, and I don't hate her. I'm not mad at any situations. But I'd got my second DUI while I was dating her, and then sobriety was going good for a little bit. I think I had like a year or two in, or not even a year, 8 months in 2015, I think it was. And I was doing good. I was holding the course. And end of 2016, I remember I went to Friends in Twins because I had a Rockstar event that I was going to perform at, and I had a toothache and no medicine or anything. But they told me earlier there was whiskey in the fridge. Trying my best to hold off, and it kept hitting me. Fuck it. So I went and got the whiskey, and that picked up my trend again. So from November to January, I was drinking hard every day, drinking and driving, just doing this stupid shit, man. And January 21st, 2017, I got my third DUI. And then I lost my job with the city because it wound up being a felony. And, like, you know, my boss in Parks and Rec, my boss's boss, like, wrote a letter to the judge, you know, a letter of recommendation. Because though I was in a bad position, though I made the stupidest mistake, I was a good person. I have good intentions. I love to help, and I have helped, you know what I mean? And so the judge took that in consideration, but still held it on as a felony because it is my third, you know? And but he was like, you know, if you don't get in any trouble or anything, no violations, nothing, that felony comes off your record. I have not once yet got in trouble. Though I did continue drinking after that, though, which was probably a bad mistake. But 2000, one of the stipulations was 90 days in work release. So preparing for that, and as we're preparing for that, like, me and my ex's relationship is a little rocky, you know what I mean? And my drinking's not getting any better, and I'm doing my best to hold on to her, you know what I mean? Codependency. And I think she's already mentally out, you know what I mean? And she's doing her best to be there. And I couldn't be supportive to her because I was so focused on my own shit. Like, she was getting ready to do a big trip for her company. Like, that's a big accomplishment out of the States, you know? Me, I'm like, oh, you're going to go when I have to do 90 days work, really? Like, selfish, you know what I mean? And me type thing. And it was bad. So work release came up 2018 February, and I go to work release, and I'm doing my best to stay there mentally, hope for a better future for me and my ex, because I'm planning on marrying this woman, you know what I mean? And I think 2 months into it, she breaks up with me, like, while I'm in work release, and I hit bottom again. I'm just like, dude, what the, like, nobody loves me. Cool, you know, and not taking into account for the mistakes or anything, but I'm still like abandonment, you know what I mean? Like, and a work release. So I take it hard, and I actually, because you're not supposed to drink on work release, and as soon as she broke up, I went to the fucking the liquor store down the road, got some Fireball, drank Fireball. I called my bandmate Axiom the Wise, and he came over. He's like, look, brings me some drink to sober me up. He's like, you need to stop this shit. This sucks right now. You don't need to put yourself in any more trouble. And he like literally helps me. He talks me through it, and it was the worst, because I think this was probably 20, 30 days in, worst 60 days of my life, still having that attachment to my ex, still like wanting to talk to her, wanting to see her every day, you know what I mean, and can't. And so I end up moving out. As soon as I get out of work release, May 25th, I move out to my brother's, where I'm staying at now. But he had moved out, so I got my own place now. But I moved into my brother's, and as soon as I had that taste of freedom, I had the taste of instability. Like, there was no stability, there was no structure. When I was in work release, there was structure. There was a certain time I had to be back, couldn't drink, couldn't do a lot of things, had to sleep at a certain time, so I had structure. Once I got out, I had nothing, nobody. Like, I had my brother, but my brother's like, you know, he's dealing with his own things. Me and my world, nothing. You know what I mean? The first week, I think I gave myself alcohol poisoning. I was out like 2 days. Couldn't eat, couldn't drink, throwing up, bile, and all that green shit. Because I just literally got bottles and just chugged them. And started somewhat find a balance, find control. And mind you, through this, there's like weeks where I wouldn't drink, and then I would drink hella heavy again. And I think it was the end of 2018, I started dating another girl. And the control was improperly balanced. I couldn't really control my drinking at that point, because it was bad. I would go to her house after work, and you know, her bedroom was upstairs, the refrigerator's downstairs. So if I would go get us water, there's bottles on the fucking sink. I'd take a couple shots, you know what I mean? That was my comfortability. And I think she had moved, or she was planning on moving. We weren't supposed to be dating, and we wound up dating because she was moving in March. And so as we're preparing for this, internally, I'm dying. Externally, I'm good. But the abandonment, everything's starting to hit me like, she's leaving me. You know what I mean? And so I had to work at Fatty's that night, which is Karma Now at the time. Karma Now, Fatty's at the time. I had to work there the night that she left. As soon as she left, like, she came over early in the morning, said our goodbye. She's crying. I'm numb. I don't know what to feel at this point. So as soon as she leaves, go get a Four Loko, go get a couple bottles. We're good. We're drinking. Go to work, and that's when it hits me. And you know, somebody texts me. They're like, "Hey, you okay?" No, I'm not good right now. You need company. Da da da. Wound up going over there, having sex with this individual, and got back to my ex, my ex now, but got back to the girl I was dating at the time, and it was bad. Like, I felt like everybody was against me. Everybody wanted to see my downfall at that time. That I didn't even feel bad. I was just like, it's another story. It's another chapter in my life that I got to go through. You know what I mean? But when it hit, we had talked that night, and she was devastated, and it broke me because now I could vividly see that I was poison to everybody around me. I was just, and it's not a negative thing. It's not me bashing myself. At that time, I was poison. You know what I mean? And everybody was trying to be my antidote, but I would poison them. And so I declared March 18th, I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm not allowed. I can't drink. I can't control it. I can't have one. I can't have a week off. Like, no, I drink to destroy. I drink to self-sabotage. That's always been my coping mechanism. And so I had to think, I was like, what's going to be different? How can I do this differently? And so I fucking checked myself into therapy. I started going to AA. Like, I started doing these things I never did before and started building a better structure. And day 1 to about day 30 were the worst days of my life. Day 1, I went out for a walk because I just needed to get outside of the house. And I felt like everybody's eyes were on me. I felt like inside everybody's head, they're thinking about how much of a piece of shit I am. So I couldn't come out of the house too much. And after day 30, I just said, fuck it, man, I'm going to continue these posts. Like, day 1, I feel like shit today. Day 2, this happened today. You know what I mean? Like a journal for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as I'm going along, things are actually coming together. Things are meshing together. Relationships are somewhat being healed because I don't have second guesses about it. I'm clear-minded. I can focus. I know what I want. I know what I need to do. And my relationship with my kids continue to build and get stronger. And I got lucky. Not a lot of people that drink that heavy get lucky to be able to stop and just things kind of work out. You stop like that, you can die. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I got super lucky, and by the grace of God, dude, I'm here at 303 today, day 303, man. And you know, life is still stressful. It's still hard to cope sometimes because I overthink things. I'm a big overthinker, very emotional, very sensitive. So drinking made me not give a fuck. It made me not care. It made me not stress. It made my anxiety not be there. Now my anxiety is always all over the place. I'm learning to manage that. Now I feel that I can get things done, but I get so antsy about it. You know what I mean? So I'm not even a full year yet. So I'm still learning, and I'm giving myself that credit that it's okay to fumble and to like, you know, still try to figure things out for right now. You know what I mean? And one of my good buddies, Max Fam Nguyen, he's actually from here. He's always been a mentor to me. I used to be a hip hop instructor back in like 2010 to like 11 or 12. And he was a hip hop instructor at the time, and we used to like dance together. And my dancing slowly stopped because my drinking just got hella bad. And we've always talked, and he's younger than me, but he's my mentor. He's very open-minded. He's very insightful. Like, he knows these things that I should know by now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so he helps me out through a lot. And I think it was the second week, because like I've been trying to do sobriety for a while, and he's like, what makes this different, man? Like, why do you think this is going to be your time? And it was funny because it just hit me, and I was like, I don't have the urge to drink. Like, I just don't want to drink. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whenever I had to stop drinking in the past, it was because I had to. Somebody forced me to. I have a problem with authority. You tell me to not do something, I'm going to fucking do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I generally don't want to drink. You know what I mean? And he was like, I've never heard you say that before. Okay, I like it. So he was like, 365. Give me 365 and I'll fly you out here to LA. I was like, get your plane ticket, bro. Like, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So I'm like 62 days away. So if you hear this, Max, get that ticket ready, bro. But but it's like people like him, even my exes, like they're motivating, and they're there for me. And I have trouble now, and it's just sobriety was the first step of figuring what's going on, figure out what I need to do. But I still have times where I bash on myself pretty hard. I still have times where I feel that I did the wrong move. And I got to realize that's fucking human nature, man. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody feels like they did something wrong, or everybody's going to be late to somewhere. Everybody's going to like do say something that's going to affect you. My problem is I internalize things. You say something to me, I take that shit to heart. You know what I mean? Mm. Like, you can call me a piece of shit. I don't mind it, but I'm just like, was a dick move because you didn't have to say that. So you intentionally want to make me feel bad. You know what I mean? I overlook it and I'm just like trying to find these reasons. But I haven't done that for a while. And it's actually been really beneficial. It saves a lot of time for me not moping on myself.
Yeah.
But sobriety has been, and I'm sorry if this was like super long.
Oh,
but,
no, definitely good to hear.
Yeah, sobriety has been the best decision of my life because it gave me time with my children back. It gave me the ability to practice what I preach. What I preach in my music is real. I couldn't apply it to myself because I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm super excited about this album because everything I say in it, it's my older albums, they had such powerful songs, such meaningful songs. There was no light at the end of the tunnel. It was just like despair. And it was all real because I was in despair. And this new one, 90 Days of Distance, there's light at the end of the tunnel and you can hear it in the songs. And it is so riveting. Like, I love it. Like, I enjoy doing this again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, that was super inspiring to hear. And congratulations on 303 days and
thank you.
Continuing your journey. Get 365 so you can get that ticket.
Yeah.
And it's good to hear. I relate actually a lot about the overthinking and about the being down on yourself. And I'm pretty sure like a majority of people do. Yeah. And then with mistakes, a lot of people too internalize it, I would say too, because like when you make a mistake, you're like, I can't believe I did that. But something I heard recently, I think literally just last week, is like I either win or I learn. And it's like
and that's a win-win right there for itself.
Yeah. And so going forward, you've obviously had almost a year now.
Yeah.
And a lot of growth, relationship with your daughter, improving relationships with people.
Yeah.
And then putting out an album that you're truly feeling like much better about in the way of how it's going. So was it the sobriety and like the mixture of relationships with your daughters and relationship with people that helped put this album together? Like kind of take us through how you put this together now instead of compared to what you used to do.
Yeah. So what I used to do is go into the studio drunk as shit, not prepared, and just record, you know what I mean? And like the producers made me sound good. But it was more so like the idea of the song because I was in despair. So I put myself in despair, you know what I mean? With this one, when I started this one, it wasn't intentional to be sober recording this one. It just so happened that I was sober when we started recording this one. And the first song I did was a song called Defective. And I think my producer, Doc Wolf, such an amazing individual, multi-talented. He was like, yeah, man, just go. Because I was antsy. I was nervous. I was like, dude, my voice is crackly. I don't know if this is going to work. He's like, dude, just go in there, man. You're good. Just go do your thing. So I started out and it came out like a Kanye West type flow. Like it was dope. I think the first line was like, my style will make you listen like cancer up in remission. Stop asking me for permission while staring at your reflection. And I was like, yo, that sounded dope. Let's keep going. So we created the song Defective and I wrote the chorus on the spot and it was on point to what we were dealing with. You know what I mean? What he was dealing with in his life, what I was dealing with in my life, what was happening in society. It was so relevant and so pure that it was just like, damn, we just made this, dude. It was so dope. So throughout all the songs I started recording, it became that way. Like I even tried to sing on a lot of them. I'm not a singer. My little brother, Antonio Greenwood, that's the singer right there. You know what I mean? But he's taught me a lot along the way. So there's a song called The Empty where I literally sound like I'm a alternative rock singer. Like, you know, like not alternative rock, like Disturbed. Like there's a scratch, like a little scratchy throat, but it like picks up. So dope. Like I'm super proud of that. You know what I mean? And I think throughout the whole thing, I wanted to create the story. Originally, it was going to be about 90 days of depression, just like being stuck. You know what I mean? And then now that I was in this better place, I rewrote a shitload of them. I was like, it's a good idea for a song, but I'm not there anymore and I don't need to be there. I don't need to put anybody there listening to that. I need to get them to where I want to get to, you know what I mean? So I put it in such a positive manner that it was cool. And there's still my songs, heartfelt songs, my sorrowful songs, like The Picture. So the picture is about Aaliyah. And what I try to do every album is I'll write one song about Aaliyah. And, you know, my idea for me is when she turns 18, if we ever do get a chance to meet, I can show her these songs. Like, you know, every year, every album, I wrote a song for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, try to help her understand, because she's going to be mad and she has a right to. But to help her understand, like, I didn't stop thinking about you. I always wanted to reach out to you, but I didn't want to mess up anything you had going now. What you have going now, you're good. And I feel like me still figuring things out, that's just gonna jeopardize a lot of your growth. I don't want to do that. But I'm still watching. I know, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And so the picture, I start out on the intro and it was just off the top because I was thinking of like what to say, and I was like, so today's day 94. Yeah. And I say it like that. And it's almost like, you know, I'm at day 94. That's really cool. That's 3 months. It still fucking sucks. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it's so real. It's so vivid to even listeners. Like, you can see it. You know what I mean? And for those dealing with it, they understand it. And it still gives them the idea, though, like, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We do have to suffer to find the joy, but we can make it. We just have to make it through that day. You know what I mean? And this album, I'm so freaking proud of, man. I'm proud of the features I have on it. I'm proud of the effort we put into it. I'm proud of Doc and Mike, like, creating my vision and making this really, really work. Because there's albums that you put out that you want, like, yes, I want this to blow up. I want everybody to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's albums you put out, I want people to feel this. I want them to generally listen to it in their car or listen to it while they're working out or sitting at home and just vibe and just say, damn, you know what? I've been there. Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want that. That's what I want. You know what I mean?
That is awesome to hear. It's awesome to see that you've grown and awesome to see how far the music has taken you and gotten to this level.
Yeah.
And I know I saw a post about wanting to go on tour with and like perform as well. I'm assuming you're gonna want to obviously perform a lot of these songs now to people so that they can feel it in that way as well. And kind of take us through how you want to tour next year and how you want to, because I know you said you wanted to go do it a little bit differently, spread to more places. How do you want to go about that?
So for right now, because my main job that I do, I work with Poor Man Window Cleaning. So I do a lot of gutters, a lot of windows, like, for my main job. And I love that job. That job is freaking awesome, man. Shout out to Brian for helping me put this together. And just had a meeting with him before this. And things are just expanding. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really put a cramp into the music thing, but also I'm realistic on wanting to take care of business and take care of my family. You know what I mean? But with this job, I do have a lot of leeway, and I do have a lot of open space to do tours, to do shows and whatnot. So I think for this year, we already got some things lined up. Next week, me and my crew, Earthlings Entertainment, that is Axiom the Wise, Andy O, ATG, and Clev Speech, myself included. We have Zion I next week. We're doing Tree Fort in March. And then finally, we are working on an album together.
Nice.
Because the Earthlings, they put together an album, but this was before, like, all of us were together. So now we're finally, like, hunkering down and, like, sitting down with our collectives and putting this all together. And it's so amazing when you have talented, humble people all together in one room that vibe off each other and that can build these ideas and build these stories. So that album is going to be coming very soon. I have Bone Thugs and Harmony, February 20th.
Awesome.
And February 16th in Boise, February 20th in Spokane. I have Tech 9, April 30th. A tour with Ace Flow, Dirty Shirt, and Higher Thinking, July 9th to the 19th. And I think that's pretty much the first 7 months so far. Trying not to overdo everything, you know what I mean? But definitely trying to get our music, my music out there a lot more. You know what I mean? And I don't think I've started any year like this. Like, let alone A, started it sober. B, started it with this many shows and this many opportunities. And like I wanted to expand, you know what I mean? Next year, if I can, I want to do a month tour, man. I want to hop on a Dizzy Wright tour. I want to hop on a Tech Nine tour. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to hop on these like super amazing big tours, like let's be on a Drake tour, da da da. No, I'd much rather be on a Tech Nine tour because I've worked with this guy. I know what they do and I know how hard they work. That's where I want to be at. You know what I mean? That effort they put in for their fans, that effort they put in for their peoples, that's what I want to create. That's what I want to be a part of. You know what I mean? So my goal for next year, you know, is to be able to piggyback on one of those tours, to hop on a Tech Nine tour for a month if I could, you know, on a Dizzy Wright tour for a month, to go to these places I've never been before and show them like, yo, I might not be the best, but I have a caliber that most cannot touch. You know what I mean? And I know I have talent. I'm very humble about it, and I try not to, you know, slap it in people's faces, but I feel I'm ready. You know what I mean? I'm at a point where it's like the fight or flight. Like, you got to be ready. And I'm like, I'm ready. Like, give me something. Like, give me a challenge. You know what I'm saying? I can write amazing bars. I can create amazing songs. I can feature amazing people. I love performing in front of people I've never seen before and blowing their mind. That is what I want to do. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. And so going forth, you got the upcoming album.
Yeah.
February 28th or 29th.
Oh, 29th. Thank
29th,
you. Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, I almost...
February 29th.
Yeah.
At Karma.
At Karma, which is the old used to be Fatty's, and now it's Karma. Place is freaking amazing, man. It's gonna be at Karma. There is gonna be an album listening party too. That's gonna be at Resurrected Tattoo. The listening party is going to be invite only. That one, and it's not per se like, oh, these individuals are special. It's like, you know, there's just people that have helped me create this or helped me get to this point that I haven't seen in a long time. I love to just be in a room, all of us listening to this, getting constructive criticism, like vibing out. You know what I mean? So I want to do that, and then the release party will be February 29th at Karma downtown.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on here and telling all these amazing stories of where you've come and how far you've gone. And I'm excited to see how far you will continue to go with this new mindset, with this sobriety, with the new relationships you've been able to get and new relationships you've been able to heal from old relationships, and going forth. And I'm excited to listen to the album and see you perform it.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much for having me on here, man.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for watching this episode. Bye.
Peace.
My style will make you listen like cancer up in remission. Stop asking me for permission.